نعم وهي.
الحمد لله رب العالمين
والعاقبة للمتقين. Can you put the phone on and mute, inshallah, so I don't hear myself?
نعم.
I said, can you put the phone on mute so it doesn't echo? Because when it echoes, I can hear myself and it's distracting. Okay?
نعم تفضل.
Okay. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise belongs to Allah, the nurturing Lord, creator, sustainer, and controller of the worlds. وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. The final determination of affairs will be in favor of the people who have taqwa. وَلَا عُدْوَانَ إِلَّا عَلَى الظَّالِمِينَ. And there is no udwan, hostility, except against the zalimeen, the people of oppression and transgression. وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد المبعوث رحمة للعالمين. I ask Allah to raise the rank and status and grant security to our Prophet Muhammad, who was sent as a mercy to the worlds. وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين, and upon his family and all of his companions. وأتباعه إلى يوم الدين, and his companions up into the day of judgment. وسلم تسليما مزيدا أما بعد. As for what follows, and we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has gathered us here today over the phone with our brothers that we love for the sake of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala at Masjid al-Wahyain in the St. Paul, Minneapolis area of the state of Minnesota. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless these brothers and sisters in their endeavor, and to give them sincerity and to make their masjid one that is built upon the taqwa of Allah and His ridwan. As for the subject of building and establishing ourselves, our families, our communities upon Tawheed and the fruits of that, then this affair is fi ghayat al-ahamiyah, without a doubt. It's one of the most important of affairs. The reason that Allah tabarak wa ta'ala created us is to know Him and to worship Him and to test us, tabarak wa ta'ala, as to which of us are best in action and best in deeds, which of us are following the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the sabil al-mu'mineen, the way of the believers, the ihsan, in goodness. So Allah informed us that He created us to worship Him. And in order to worship Him, we must know Him. And these two things, knowing Allah, tabarak wa ta'ala, and singling Him out with worship, and making the religion sincere for Him, tabarak wa ta'ala, these are the exit route from every trial and tribulation, and they are the way that we will be successful in this test that is in front of us, that constitutes the duration of our life. Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, He said in the concluding verses of Surah Al-Talaq, Allah alladhi khalaqa sab'a samawati wa min al-ardi mithlahunna yatanazzalu al-amru baynahunna lita'lamu anna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir wa anna Allah qad ahata bi kulli shay'in ilma. It is Allah who created the seven heavens and the likes of that, of the earth. يَتَنَزَّلُ الْأَمْرُ بَيْنَهُنَّ. Allah causes His order to descend between the heavens and the earth. The universal orders of Allah, tabarak wa ta'ala, as regards what occurs in the universe. And the revelation of Allah, tabarak wa ta'ala, pertaining the guidance of mankind, descends between the heavens and the earth. لِتَعْلَمُوا. Why? Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, He informs us that He has done all of that He has created the universe, and He has set the qadr into motion the way that has been set into motion, and that He has sent revelation for us to be able to navigate through the qadr to outcomes that are most pleasing to Him, tabarak wa ta'ala. And He has done all of this, why? لِتَعْلَمُوا, so that you could know, that you could have certain awareness and perception a certain realization and grasp of the fact of what? أن الله على كل شيء قدير وأن الله قد أحاط بكل شيء علما. لتعلموا أن الله على كل شيء قدير وأن الله قد أحاط بكل شيء علما. So that you can know that Allah has power over all things, and that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala encompasses all things in knowledge. In this verse, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has informed us that He created us to know Him and to know about His beautiful names and His lofty attributes, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, from which His actions emanate from. And the reason that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala created us is so that we can see the ajaib of His qudra, and the astonishing power of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the astonishing manifestations of Allah's power, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and so that we can get a glimpse into the knowledge of Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, the extent of the eternal knowledge of Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, to some small degree, by looking at what Allah has created and looking at what Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, has revealed, and how the revelation is the source for all of our problems and is the guidance for us in all of our affairs. And so Allah in this verse has informed us, the scholars, they say that He created us to know Him. That He created us to know Him. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has stated in Surah al-Dhariyat, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ يُطْعِمُونَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينُ. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He said, I did not create the jinn kind nor the mankind except so that they may worship me. I do not desire from them that they should provide for me, nor that they should feed me. Indeed, Allah is the provider and the possessor of al-Quwwah, of absolute power, al-Mateen, and He is the one who has overwhelming authority, Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in this verse has informed us of why He created us, which is to worship Him. And He created, and He has informed us in this verse of, what is it that is the evidence that He alone deserves to be worshipped, which is the fact that He is free in need of us, and that He is the one that we are in need of for jalbul manafi' wa daf'ul madar, for the acquirement and acquisition of any benefit that we need, and for protection from any harm. When He said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينُ. So Allah is free in need of us. مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ يُطْعِمُونَ. I do not desire that they should provide for me, nor that they should feed me. But verily Allah is the one who is al-Razzaq. He is the provider of al-Quwwat al-Mateen. And so because Allah is free in need of His creation, and they are in dire need of Him, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, then He alone deserves worship. He alone deserves to be the object of the epitome of love, the highest degree of love, and the highest degree of ta'zeem, of veneration, and dhul, and humility, and subservience. That we single out Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala with who He is, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, with His name, His attributes, and His action, and His right to be worshipped, Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So Allah created us so that we can increase in our knowledge of who He is, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and so that we can implement that knowledge in singling Him out with worship, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has informed us likewise that He is the one خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. And He is the one who created life and death in order to test you as to which of you are best in action. And so, to bring these three verses together, the first verse in Surah Al-Talaq, informing us that Allah created us to know Him. The second verse in Surah Al-Zariyat, informing us that Allah created us to worship Him. And this third verse, where Allah mentions the reason that He created us is to test us, is that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has created us to know Him, and the result of knowing about Allah is that Allah is singled out with worship, and the person who knows about Allah and singles Him out with worship, according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, is the person who is ahsanu amala, who is best in action, and the person who is most likely and most probable to pass the test of life. that Allah Ta'ala has placed in front of him. And so this is something tremendous for the human being, is to think about why he is here, where he came from, what is in store for him, and what is the path that will lead him to the most favorable of outcomes. And he will find the solution for all of his problems. And he will find the relief for all of his anxieties in the religion of Allah Ta'ala. The more he knows about Allah and the beautiful names of Allah Ta'ala, the more his heart will be filled with joy and happiness. It was stated by Malik ibn Dinar, rahmatullahi alayhi, and likewise by the great Imam of the Tabi'een, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak al-Marwazi, rahmatullahi alayhi, that they both said, Masakinu ahli dunya zahabu min ad-dunya wa ma baqu atyaba ma fiha. But the unfortunate people, the poor people, the masakin, the poor people, the paupers in this world, those who have little or next to nothing in this world, are those people who leave from this world and never taste the best thing that is found in this world. They never taste and experience the atyab, the most wholesome and pure and goodly thing that is found in this world. Ma'rifatullah, knowing about Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. In the statement of Malik ibn Dinar, he said, Ma'rifatullah wal-unsu bi-qurbihi wa-labbatu bi-ta'atihi. And it is to know Allah, to find comfort in drawing near to Allah, and to find pleasure in obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the person will have hayatun tayyibah, and a good life, who knows Allah and who worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From the mercy of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala is that Allah has made it impossible that any person to truly have a good life or find happiness, or they are in a state of disobedience to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, or in a state even worse of disobedience, of disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh Abdul Rahman ibn Nasir al-Sa'adi rahimahullah ta'ala, he wrote a tremendous book, a very beneficial book, that is entitled Usulun Azima fi Qawa'id al-Islam. Tremendous fundamentals from the principles of Islam. Tremendous fundamentals from the principles of Islam. And he explains how correct beliefs about Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and His names and attributes and His right to be worshipped subhanahu wa ta'ala, how it brings about progress in society, how it elevates the community, how it elevates the individual and the family and the community. He says, rahimahullah ta'ala, الأمور التي يحصل بها الرقي الحقيقي والسعادة والفلاح الاعتقادات صحيحة. He said those affairs that bring about true progress and advancement and felicity and success are the following affairs. Firstly, الاعتقادات الصحيحة, correct, authentic, genuine beliefs. Correct and authentic, genuine beliefs. Secondly, والأخلاق المزكية للقلوب المطهرة للأرواح, and what is produced by correct beliefs of morals and character that purify the heart and purge the soul from evil and filth. الباعثة للحمم والعزائم إلى كل خير. That have as a result, the third thing, الباعثة للحمم والعزائم إلى كل خير. These affairs of character that are produced by correct beliefs that bring about within the person al-himam wal-azaim, that bring about within the person the aspiration and ambition and determination to pursue every good. والأعمال الصالحة النافعة والأعمال الصالحة النافعة في الدين والدنيا. And the fourth thing that comes as a result of these first three things are righteous deeds that are beneficial pertaining the affairs of the deen and the affairs of the dunya. So these four things are, as the Shaykh says, وَهَذِهِ الْأُمُورُ مُتَلَازِمَةٌ لَا يَتِمُ بَعْضُهَا إِلَّا بِبَعْضٍ. These four things are inseparably connected to each other. Correct beliefs, good, noble character, high ambitions and aspirations, and righteous deeds, righteous behavior. These four affairs are inseparably connected to each other, and they are not complete except through each other. وَبِتَمَامِهَا السَّعَادَةُ وَالْفَلَاحُ. And by a person bringing these things into fruition, by the help of Allah Ta'ala, by a person completing himself as regards these four things, having correct beliefs, having proper character, any internal traits, any of goodness within him, and high ambitions and righteous deeds that come as a result of these things, a person will have a sa'ada wal falah. This is how a person attains happiness and success. He said, فَإِذَا اعْتَقَدَ الْعَبْدُ مَا أَخْبَرَتْ بِهِ الرُّسُلُ عَنِ اللَّهِ. So he goes into some detail. He says that once the worshipper believes correctly pertaining what Allah's messengers, alayhim as-salatu was-salam, have informed about Allah, the exalted and most high, وَأَنَّ لَهُ الْكَمَالَ الْمُطْلَقِ مِنْ جَمِيعِ الْوُجُوهِ. And they realize that Allah Ta'ala possesses absolute, unrestricted perfection in every way. بِكُلِّ وَجْهٍ وَاعْتِبَارٍ. وَأَنَّ الْأَشْيَاءَ وُجُودُهَا وَبَقَاؤُهَا وَكَمَالُهَا بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى. And that the existence, survival, and perfection of all things is through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنْهُ تَسْتَمِدُّ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ فَعَلِمَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْخَالِقُ وَحْدَهُ. And that everything is in dependence, or everything is dependent upon Allah tabarak wa ta'ala for al-madad, and for aid and assistance and provision. فَعَلِمَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْخَالِقُ وَحْدَهُ. And so the slave realizes, the worshipper realizes that Allah alone is the creator. وَمَا سِوَاهُ مَخْلُوقٌ. Everything besides him is created. وَهُوَ الرَّازِقُ الْمُحْسِنُ وَمَا سِوَاهُ مَرْزُوقٌ مُضْطَرٌ إِلَى إِحْسَانِ رَبِّهِ وَكَرَمِهِ مِنْ كُلِّ وَجْهٍ. And that he is the provider and the shower of benevolence and kindness, and everything besides him is provided for and in dire need of the kindness of its Lord and his generosity in every way. وهو المدبر المصرف للعالم العلوي والسفلي بحكمته وعلمه وعنايته وحسن تدبيره. And they realize that Allah is the controller and the disposer of the affairs of the universe from its highest extremity to its lowest point, by his wisdom and knowledge and his care for his creation and his good control and disposing of their affairs. وهو بكل شيء عليم. And once they know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has knowledge of all things, يعلم سر وأخفى, that Allah knows what is secret and what is even more inconspicuous than the thoughts of people. ولا تخفى عليه خافية في الأرض ولا في السماء. That there is nothing whatsoever that is hidden to Allah in the earth or in the heavens. يسمع الأصوات. Allah hears all sounds and noises and voices. سواء منكم من أسر القول ومن جهر به. And whether a person is speaking openly and loudly, or whether a person is speaking quietly and privately, Allah hears. ويرى جميع ما حواه العالم العلوي والسفلي. Now he sees everything that is contained within the universe from its highest extremity to its lowest point. لا يخفى على نظره أدق المخلوقات بأخفى الأمكنة. Nothing is hidden to Allah's view, no matter how minuscule it is, in the most ambiguous of places. وهو مع ذلك واسع الرحمة والجود والكرم والبر والامتنان. And alongside all of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is vast in his mercy and generosity and benevolence and bestowing of tremendous blessings. يفيض الإحسان على مخلوقاته آناء الليل والنهار. Allah tabarak wa ta'ala throughout the duration of the nights and the days is showering kindness upon his creation. يده بالخير صحاء الليل والنهار. His hand is extended, granting the creation good throughout the day and the night. ما من دابة إلا هو آخذ بناصيتها. There is not a creature except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has seized that creature and control of that creature by its forehead. وموصل إليها من بره وإحسانه جميع ما تحتاجه في وجودها وبقائها وتمام أحوالها. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who causes His kindness to reach that creature as regards everything that it needs to survive, to exist, and for all of its circumstances and affairs. وَتَفْزَعُ إِلَيْهِ فِي جَمِيعِ مُحِمَّاتِهَا وَمُلِمَّاتِهَا. And that it is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the creation turns for all of their needs and for all of their pressing concerns. وَيُجِيبُ الدَّاعِينَ وَيَكْشِفُ كُرُبَاتِ الْمَكْرُوبِينَ. And so He answers those who call upon Him, and He relieves calamity from those in a state of peril. وَيُذِلُ ضُرْ عَنَ الْمُضْطَرِّينَ. And He removes harm from those that are in a state of dire need. وَيَسُوقُ الْأَلْطَافُ وَأَصْنَافِ الْبِرِّ عِبَادِهِ الْمُنِيبِينَ. And He drives subtle forms of mercy and all sorts of kindness towards those from His slaves that turn to Him for their needs. فَمَتَى اعْتَقَدَتِ الْقُلُوبُ هذه الاعتقادات الصحيحة بربها وإلهها فلا بد أن تنيب إليه الخوف والرجاء والمحبة. So once they have these affairs of belief as personal convictions, once their hearts are connected and tied to these things, once they have these valid beliefs about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the result of this is al-inaba. It has a result in their character. What is the result? Al-inaba. That they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with love and hope and fear. وَتَمْتَلِعُ مِنْ تَعْظِيمِهِ وَالْإِيمَانِ بِهِ. And their hearts become filled with veneration of Allah and faith in Allah. وَتَطْلُبُ السَّعْيَ فِي كُلِّ أَمْرٍ يُرْضِيهِ. And they start to pursue and work for every affair that will please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَتَتَجَنَّبُ كُلَّ أَمْرٍ يُسْخِطُهُ. And as a result of these beliefs, they abstain from every affair that angers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَيَضْطَرُّهَا هَذَا الْأَمْرُ إِلَى الْإِخْلَاصِ الَّذِي هُوَ رُوحُ الْأَعْمَالِ. So this affair drives them to ikhlas, to sincerity, which is the driving force behind their action. فَالْمُخْلِصُ لِلَّهِ تنبني أعماله ظاهرة والباطنة على أن يكون الداعي لها والباعث عليها والإيمان بالله تبارك وتعالى. Person who is sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finds that his actions that are done externally and internally are built upon and driven by his faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَغَايَتُهَا الَّذِي تَنْتَهِي إِلَيْهِ وَتَسْعَى إِلَيْهِ طَلَبُ رِضَاهُ. And they find that the ambition, that the ghaya, that their ultimate objective, that they are trying to reach and work for is to pursue the pleasure of Allah تبارك وتعالى وَتَنَعُمُ بِثَوَابِهِ وَخَيْرَاتِهِ. And to enjoy the eternal reward of Allah and goodness from Allah تبارك وتعالى. وبذلك يزول عن القلوب جميع الأخلاق الرذيلة من الرياء والنفاق والعجب ومساوي الأخلاق. And as a result of this belief in Allah, and it's affecting the sincerity of a person and turning the person towards Allah with love and hope and fear, making the person devoted to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. As a result of this, then the most horrible traits, the most loathsome and reprehensible qualities of al-riya, showing off, wal-nifaq, and hypocrisy, wal-ujub, and self-astonishment, wa-masawi al-akhlaq, and all the affairs of evil character are removed from his heart and disappear from his heart. وَتَتَحَلَّى بِالْأَخْلَاقِ الْجَمِيلَةِ. And the heart adorns itself with beautiful traits and beautiful qualities and character. مِنَ الْحُبِّ وَالْإِخْلَاصِ وَالطَّمَعِ فِي فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. Such as love of Allah and what He loves, وَالْإِخْلَاص and sincerity to Allah, وَالطَّمَعِ فِي فَضْلِ اللَّهِ, and expectancy of the bounty of Allah, وَالْخَوْفِ مِنْ عِقَابِهِ وَالْخَوْفِ مِنْ عِقَابِهِ, and fear of the punishment of Allah, وَالصِّدْقِ الْكَامِلِ فِي طَلَبِ مَرْضَاتِهِ, and a person having perfect genuineness and trueness and pursuing what is pleasing to Allah, وَالْإِنَابَةِ التَّامَةِ إِلَى رَبِّهَا فِي رَغَبَاتِهَا وَرَحَبَاتِهَا, and complete inaba, complete devotion and turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as regards everything that it desires and everything that it fears, knowing that that is in the hand of Allah. لأنها تعلم أنه لا ملجأ ولا ملجأ ولا مولى ولا نصير إلا ربها ومليكها. Because the heart, once it has these beliefs and once it is affected by these beliefs, it knows that there is no recourse for it to turn to, and there is no salvation for it, and there is no protection for it or no helper for it except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, its Lord and its King. وتكون محبتها للخير الذي يقربها إلى مولاها مقدمة إلى كل محبة. And the love that it has for the good that will bring it close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will drive the person and advance the person towards everything that is beloved to them. وترى أن قوتها وغضاءها وكمالها بهذه الإنابة وهذا الافتقار. And the heart will realize that its strength and its nourishment and its perfection can only come about by this constant devotion and turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this sense and realization of the dire need of Allah. وتعطف بهذا التعبد على عباد الله. And as a result of this devotion and worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they find compassion in their hearts towards Allah's creation. فَتُحِبُّ لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ مَا تُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِهَا مِنَ الْخَيْرِ. And the hearts of such people love for the Muslims what they love for themselves of the good. وَتَسْعَى لِذَلِكَ بِحَسَبِ مَقْدُورِهَا. And they work and strive towards that with their furthest maqdur, with their furthest ability, to the extent of their ability. ثُمَّ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهَا النَّكَبَاتُ وَحَلَّتْ بِهَا الْمُصِيبَاتُ فَزَعَتْ إِلَى رَبِّهَا. And then when they find themselves afflicted by calamities and hardships, then they turn to their Lord, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, لِيَكْشِفَ ضُرَّهَا, in order to remove harm from them. وَيُثِيبَهَا عَلَى مَا قُدِّرَ عَلَيْهَا وَقَدَّرَ عَلَيْهَا, and to reward them for what they have been tested with. وَتَطْمَعُ غَايَةَ الطَّمَعِ بِفَضْلِ رَبِّهَا وَرَجَاءِ رَحْمَتِهِ وَطَلَبِ ثَوَابِهِ. And they have the greatest degree of aspiration, the greatest degree of expectancy of the kindness of Allah, the deliverance of Allah, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and seeking the reward of Allah when they go through hardships. بهذا المعنى الذي تتصف به وهذه العقيدة نافعة تهون عليها المصيبات. And once they have this meaning incorporated within themselves, and they adorn themselves with this quality that we have described here, these beneficial beliefs, then they find all hardships and calamities easy for them to bear. وَتَخَفُّ عَنْهَا الْمَكْرُوهَاتِ, and all affairs that are disliked are lightened for them. بِمَا تَعْلَمُهُ مِنْ حِكْمَةِ اللَّهِ, because of what these hearts know about the wisdom of Allah. وَاسْتِنَادِ الْأُمُورِ إِلَى تَدْبِيرِهِ وَقُدْرَتِهِ, and how all affairs are directly connected to His control and His power. وَلِمَا تَرْجُوهُ مِنْ تَفْرِيجِ كُرَبِهَا, and because of what they hope pertaining Allah's delivering them from calamity. لأنها تعلم أنه لا يفرج الكروبات ولا يزيل الشدات إلا هو سبحانه وتعالى, because they know that no one can deliver them from calamity and peril except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ولما ترجوه من الثواب الذي رتبه على المكاره والصبر عليها, and because of what they know about the reward of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala that they hope for, pertaining being patient with difficulties and hardships. وأما من لم يحصل له هذا الإيمان فإنه عند المصائب والملمات يجري له من الآلام القلبية والفظاعية الروحية والزلازل العظيمة ما لا يمكن تعبير عنه. As for a person who doesn't have this faith, that when he is afflicted with calamity and hardship, that he feels pain within his heart, and his soul is devastated and shaken tremendously to an extent that we wouldn't even be able to describe. وربما أن بعض هؤلاء تصل به الحال إلى إتلاف نفسه, to the point that some people who are in this condition find themselves in such a state that they are willing to destroy their lives, that they are willing to commit suicide, or إلى زوال عقله, or because of these calamities and hardships that they are tried with, they lose their minds. sanity لعدم ما يستند إليه ويرجوه, because they don't have anything to connect themselves to and hope for. كما أن المؤمن الحقيقي يتلقى المكارش والمصيبات بالصبر والقوة وطمأنينة الأسباب التي أشرنا إليها, فإنه يتلقى أوامر ربه بالقوة والعزيمة الصادقة. Just as a believer who is a true believer responds to hardship and calamities with patience and strength and peace of mind and heart for the reasons that we have indicated. And likewise, he responds to the orders and commands of his Lord, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, with quwwah, and he with strength, wal-azima as-sadiqa, and true, genuine determination. ويؤدي حقوقه وحقوق خلقه بالكمال والتمام بحسب استطاعته. And he fulfills the rights of Allah and the rights of his creation perfectly and completely according to his ability. ومع ذلك فإنه يعلم أنه لا يمكنه أن تتم له العبودية وأداء الحقوق الواجبة وأداء الحقوق الواجبة والمستحبة والمصالح الكلية والجزئية إلا بصعيد الأسباب الدنيوية النافعة. And with all of that, he knows that it is not possible for him to fulfill his worship of his Lord complete, or the mandatory rights or recommended rights of Allah or his creation, or bring about anything that will be of a benefit for the community as a whole or himself individually, unless he إلا بصعيد الأسباب الدنيوية النافعة, unless he takes advantage of the beneficial means in this world, what Allah has provided for him of beneficial means in this world, like technology and wealth and health and so on and so forth. He said, وَبِالْقِيَامِ بِالْقُوَّةِ الْمَعْنَوِيَّةِ وَالْمَادِيَّةِ, and by his establishing the worship of Allah and the rights of Allah and the creation with spiritual and physical strength, spiritual and material means and strength. فانبعثت همته لداعي الإيمان وداعي العقل وداعي الفطرة إلى ذلك. When he realizes that this is the case, that his aspiration, his ambition rises to the occasion because of his faith, because of his intellect, and because of his fitrah, to take advantage of material resources that Allah Ta'ala has provided for him in this world to establish the rights of Allah and the rights of the creation. وَأَبْدَى مَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ بِتَحْصِيلِ ذَلِكِ, and he gives his best effort in attaining these material means that are necessary for him to establish the rights of Allah and the rights of his creation. So many statements from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and from the Sahaba and the Tabi'een pertaining the importance of a person seeking halal sustenance and spending it upon his family and using it to establish the worship of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and using those things that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has provided for us and has subjected to our use from the things of this world. And it is to the extent that the scholars, they have said that using these things in such a way is included in jihad fi sabilillah, struggling in the path of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So in this way, a person's work and a person's education and so on and so forth becomes worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it becomes part of the struggle in the path of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Shaykh Sa'adi rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, وَأَبْدَ مَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ بِتَحْصِيلِ ذَلِكَ وَعَلِمَ أَنَ الْمَقَاصِدَ تَتِمُّ إِلَّا بِالْوَسَائِلِ. So the person, he exerts his best effort in attaining these material means, and he knows that the objectives that he must reach cannot be completed without their means, without their wasa'il, without the means to attain them. وَأَنَّ الْوَسَائِلَ الَّتِي تُعِينُ عَلى الْمَصَالِحِ مِمَّا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ وَمِمَّا رَتَّبَ عَلَيْهِ الثَّوَابِ وَعَلَى الْإِسْتِحَانَةِ بِهِ الْعِقَابِ. And he knows that the means that aid him in acquiring what is of a benefit for him in this world and the hereafter are from those things that Allah has ordered him with and has placed reward as a result of striving for them. وَعَلَى الْإِسْتِحَانَةِ بِهِ الْعِقَابِ, and has made neglecting them result in the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فدخل في هذا جميع الأسباب الموجودة والتي ستحدث بعد ذلك. And included in this are all of the physical means, material means that are in existence currently, and all the things that are coming into existence. فعلم بذلك أن الإيمان المذكور والباعث على تحصيل خير الدنيا والآخرة. So it is known by that Iman, as we have described it, as it is found in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that it is the driving force to attaining all good in this world and in the hereafter. وأن من لا يرجو ثواب من الله ولا يخشى منه عقابا ولا له إيمان يستند إليه أنه ضعيف الحمة. That the person who does not hope for Allah's reward or fear His punishment, doesn't have any faith to rely upon, that this person will find himself weak in ambition. ضعيف العزم النافع. He will find himself weak in beneficial determination. وإنما تنبعث عزمته في تحصيل لذاته البهيمية وشهوته السفلية وطمعه الدني. And that the only thing that would drive such a person is animalistic lust and desire and low ambitions and despicable and loathsome impulses. فربما كانت قوته في هذه الأمور أسبابه المادية في تحصيلها فوق ما يتصوره المتصور ويعبر عنه المتكلم، ولكن لا إيمان يستند إليه ولا غاية حميدة يرتجيها ولا حياة أبدية يعمل لها. To the point that a person, he says, will find the strength that they have to compete and work for material things in this world and for the material means, and the effort that they give to do so beyond what you can begin to imagine and describe. However, such a person, while they are pursuing secular knowledge and while they are pursuing material wealth, so on and so forth, while they are working for the material means in this world, they have no iman to rely upon, and they have no praiseworthy objectives that they can hope for. وَلَا حَيَاةً أَبَدِيَّةً يَعْمَلُ لَهَا. And they have no eternal life that they are working for. فَمَنْ كَانَتْ هَذِهِ حَالُهُ لَمْ يَنَلْ فِي هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةِ طَيِّبَهَا وَلَا نَجَحَ فِي تَحْصِيلِ سَعَادَتِهَا. Whoever finds himself in such a situation, whenever and tastes and counts it the wholesome, enjoyable things in this world, and he will never be successful in tasting happiness, true happiness in this world. وبقطع النظر عن الحياة الأخرى فإنه ليس له في الآخرة من خلاق ولا نصيب. Without even looking at the next life, you will have no happiness in this life. Without looking at the next life, for verily in the next life, this person will have no portion, and he will have no reward with Allah تبارك وتعالى. وبهذا يتضح لنا ما عليه المعرضون الآن عن الإيمان بالله، وأن هذه المناطق وما ممتع به من الحياة ما هي إلا لذات مؤقتة تحتها ما شئت من الآلام والأكدار. We'll close with this statement. He says, and once we have observed this, and we have made this contrast and comparison between the state of the believer and the state of the person who does not have the state, he said it becomes abundantly clear to us that those people today that are disinterested in faith, that turn away from belief in Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, that what they have of these manadar, what they have of these appearances, and what they have of mata', and of enjoyment in the life of this world, it is nothing but a temporary enjoyment. The temporary enjoyment, تحتها ما شئت من الآلام والأكدار, and underneath the surface of their pleasure and enjoyment is what you can begin to imagine of pain and misery and unsettledness. So the Shaykh, rahmatullahi alayhi, has demonstrated here how correct beliefs drive a person to pure character, and drive a person to wanting the good for himself and wanting the good for others, and raise his aspirations and raise his ambition to taking the beneficial means of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided in this world of wealth, status, and health, technology, and children, and so on and so forth, to establish the religion of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, out of this belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter, so that he can be happy in this world and in the hereafter. He can work for his own benefit and the benefit of others in this world and the hereafter. And this is how Islam causes the individual and the community, because of correct aqeedah, because of correct beliefs about Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, what it produces of character, sincerity, and high ambitions, and taking advantage of the beneficial means in this world and establishing Allah's rights and the rights of the creation, how it leads the person to all happiness and all success. And this, without a doubt, is something of great importance to understand. These four elements, when you read the words of the Sahabi, rahimahullah ta'ala, sometimes you forget who the author is, because his words so carefully mirror the words of that scholar that he had a great deal of respect and love for, whose writings he focused a great deal of attention on, to the point that he has collected from the writings of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala and Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi, and two entire books full of benefits from the writings of these two great scholars. Sometimes when you read the words of Shaykh al-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, you forget that you're not reading the words of Ibn al-Taymiyyah or the words of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala. And these things are found all throughout their writing, connecting the affair of correct beliefs to the affair of character, to the affair of raising the aspirations and the ambitions of the Muslims, to remove them from the pitiful condition that they find themselves in, and how this brings about every righteous behavior from the Muslims in this world and the hereafter. So these are four elements that, as the Shaykh said, they are inseparably connected together: the affair of correct beliefs, the affair of lofty morality and character, the affair of high ambitions and aspirations, and the affair of righteous deeds and actions. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who hear what we hear and follow the best of what we heard. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم.
جزاك الله خير وبارك الله. Yeah, Ustad, inshallah, do you have some time? The brothers and sisters have some questions. If you can.
Maybe one or two. I'm supposed to throw some food on the grill, right?
Inshallah. 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 Brothers, if you guys have any questions, inshallah, can come forward.
What is the cure for laziness?
The cure for laziness is to know the harms of laziness. Laziness is connected to, and as a character trait, is connected to the quality of kadhib and kibr. And the kadhib, of not lying but disingenuousness, and the phoniness. And the laziness comes from a person not having ambition, right? A Shaykh Fawzan, and likewise the speech of the Shaykh Fawzan, and he is derived from the book Zad al-Ma'ad by Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi, and he explained that laziness, when the Prophet ﷺ sought refuge from 8 things, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-'ajzi wal-kasal, O Allah, indeed I seek your refuge from helplessness and laziness. From helplessness and laziness. وَمِنَ الْهَمِّ وَالْحُزْنِ, and from worry and sadness. وَمِنَ الْجُبْنِ وَالْبُخْلِ, and from stinginess and cowardice. وَمِنْ ضَلَعِ الدَّيْنِ وَغَلَبَةِ الرِّجَالِ, and from being overwhelmed by debt or overcome and conquered by men. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala is that in Ma'ad and other places, and he has explained this hadith in a number of places in his books. He said that all of these 8 things, all of these 8 things are the things that prevent a person from progress religiously or in a worldly way. From any type of progress. Right? And the Prophet ﷺ sought refuge in these 8 things because they are aqabats, because they are obstacles. They are obstacles that prevent a person from moving forward. And all of these 8 things go back to al-kasal, go back to laziness. All of these 8 things go back to laziness. Laziness prevents a person from moving forward. So when a person is lazy, laziness leads to helplessness. Helplessness is where a person is incapable of, taking care of himself, or is incapable of, making progress, so on and so forth. And it comes about by laziness. Laziness is where a person has the ability and doesn't seize the opportunity. Helplessness is where a person doesn't have the ability. But in most situations, a person is led to helplessness because of laziness. A person is led to sadness and worry because of laziness. A person is led to stinginess and cowardice because of laziness. Laziness produces stinginess and cowardice. A person is too lazy to spend his money, right? A person is too lazy to act upon the good. That's cowardice, right? To take advantage of opportunity. A person is, because of laziness, finds himself overwhelmed by debt. And a person may find himself controlled by other people because he's lazy. Laziness puts a person in a vulnerable condition. And it is the farthest thing. It is the farthest thing from the character of a man. It is the farthest thing from the character of a man. Ibn Qayyim, he says that laziness produces those 2 qualities that we heard, which are stinginess and greed. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, the most horrible quality traits a man can have is anguish, greed, and unnerving cowardice. These things come because of laziness. They come because of laziness. A person not having ambition. And the ambition, azima, determination, is the opposite of laziness. The scholars, they say that there are 3 conditions connected to a person's action. 2 conditions are required for the acceptability of the action, which are sincerity and following the Sunnah of the Prophet. The 3rd condition is the condition of the action happening at all, which is sidq, azima. Hafiz al-Hakami rahimahullah ta'ala, he calls sidq azima, sidq azima, true determination. True determination. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he says the person who doesn't have this determination, who is upon the sirat al-mustaqim, who is a Muslim, upon the straight path, then even if he has sincerity, and even if he is following the Sunnah of the Prophet, he said the Sunnah of the Prophet is like the path itself. It's the road itself, the path, it's the sirat itself. Islam, the Sunnah. Islam is the Sunnah of Islam. And sincerity is his goal in the path, to reach Allah safely and the hereafter safely. Right? So he does what he does for the sake of Allah, for the pleasure of Allah, for the reward of Allah, so on and so forth. That's his goal. And he's upon the path which is the Sunnah. But in order to get to his goal, he has to move towards his goal. The thing that propels him along the path is determination. And the opposite of that is laziness and complacency. He said the person who is upon the path, which is the Sunnah, and moving towards the goal, but he doesn't have any determination, he said it's like a person who is walking down the street. He said, ala al-yatayt. He says like a person, instead of walking on his feet, he's scooting on his buttocks, on his 2 cheeks, on his backside, he said. These are the words of Ibn Qayyim. He said, كَالَّذِي يَمْشِي عَلَى الْيَتَيْهِ. He says like the person who's scooting, instead of walking or running on the path, he's scooting on his backside, going down the street. You would say there's something wrong with this person's mind. This person has lost their wit. It says he's standing up on his own 2 feet and walking, he's scooting. I mean, this is the reality of laziness. He said, or like a person, yamshi fi quyud, and a person walking in shackles and chains. A person who's walking in shackles and chains. And so laziness, when a person realizes its adrar, and they see the harms of laziness, and the bitter fruits of laziness, then this should compel the person to stand up and to have determination and to look at the outcomes of determination. That it is from the qualities of righteous men and righteous women to take advantage of the health and the wealth that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has given them, the opportunity that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has given them in their youth and their life and so on and so forth. Because, and we don't know how long we have. We don't know how long we'll be here for. So, certainly, by a person looking at the harms of laziness, they should be motivated to do its opposite. And by a person looking at the biographies and the lives of righteous people, and those people that have excelled in the religion and knowledge and excelled in their worship of Allah Ta'ala, and who have brought about a great deal of good for the Muslims, looking at the lives of the companions of the Prophet and looking at the lives of the prophets and the messengers, alayhi salatu wasalam, and the likes of these things. And they'll see the imams of al-Azimah, the imams of determination. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He said, وَذْكُرْ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَعِيلَ وَذْكُرْ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ أُولِي الْأَيْدِي وَالْأَبْصَارِ. He said, mention in the book Ibrahim and Ishaq and Yaqub. أُولُو الْأَيْدِي وَالْأَبْصَارِ. They were the people of al-Aydi wal-Absar, the people of determination. Al-Aydi, meaning Azimah, the people of determination, quwwah, strength. Wal-Absar, and vision. And vision. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and He described the believers, described the prophets and the messengers and their righteous followers as people of vision and determination. Vision and determination. I mean, vision, knowing about Allah, the path leading to Allah, and the reward and punishment of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, wal-Azimah, and determination. And the tree of faith is built upon vision and determination. And what is mentioned in the book of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala about the light of the heart and the life of the heart. The light of the heart is vision and knowledge. And the life of the heart is determination and ambition. So these things are central tenets to our religion. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that the tree of nifaq, the tree of hypocrisy, is built upon a weakness in vision and a weakness in determination. A weakness in vision and a weakness in determination. And this is found in the book Madarij al-Salikin, and a lengthy, detailed description of the munafiqeen, of the hypocrites. And that what drives hypocrisy, what drives disingenuous, what drives phoniness in a person's religion, and where a person doesn't have determination, and where a person doesn't have a genuineness in their religion, rather, is weakness, ضعف البصيرة وضعف العزيمة, a weakness in vision and a weakness in determination. So, when a person sees that, the worst of the creation, are described with a lack of determination, or a determination toward those things that are harmful, and so on and so forth. And that the hypocrites are described with laziness, and so on and so forth. And they'll try to be as far away from those things as possible. Other than that, laziness can be caused by a lack of, problems with a person's health, by a lack of exercise, by a lack of, appropriate company and good companionship, so on and so forth. A person should try to be in good shape, be in good health, have good company, be in the company of people that are positive people. Know that Islam has come to make the person happy and to make the person successful, and so on and so forth. And inshallah, by understanding these things, the person will be driven to succeed and, discouraged from being lazy, inshallah.
Inshallah, the second question is, some people bring the doubt that the word aqidah It's nowhere to be found in the Quran or Sunnah, and they say therefore it is no use to study Aqidah or Tawheed. And how can we respond to these individuals and advise them in the best way manner?
You look at, first off, the word Aqidah is a word that's accepted by the Tawheed of the Muslims. All the Tawheed of the Muslims, all the sects, all the groups, Sunni and non-Sunni, accept the word Aqidah. Right? Throughout the history of Islam. It's a word that nobody has had a problem with in the Arabic language. What is meant by Aqidah? What are the words that are mutaqariba, mutaradifa, the words that are synonyms for Aqidah? Right? The Imams of the Sunnah, when they wrote the books of Aqidah, they named them Aqidah, right? They named them Sunnah, right? And these sorts of words, right? So, you have books of Iman, which are about Aqidah. Books of Sunnah, Sharh Usul I'tiqad Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. The word Sunnah is used by Imam Ahmad to describe Aqidah. Is used by Muhammad ibn Nasr al-Marwazi to describe Aqidah. Is used by al-Barbahari to describe Aqidah, and so on and so forth, right? So the Sunnah, the basis of the Sunnah is that i'tiqadat, the imaniyat, the affairs of Iman. What is the Aqidah of al-Sunnah? Look at the books of Aqidah, the book Aqidah, al-Aqidah al-Wasitiyah, right? Aqidah al-Wasitiyah. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, وَعَقِيدَةُ أَهْلِ السُّنَّةِ وَالْجَمَاعَةِ. But the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, quite simple, is al-Imanu billah wa kutubihi wa rusulihi, al-Imanu billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi, wal yawm al-akhir wa qadari khayrihi wa sharrihi wa hudwihi wa marrihi. That what is the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah? Is Iman billah and his angels and his books and his messengers and the last day and the qadr. So would such a person propose the argument that there is no benefit in studying these things? There is no benefit in studying about al-Iman billah. What is found in the books of creed is the majority of what is found in the books of creed is an explanation about Allah's names and attributes. That's not important. That's not important. It's a rhetorical question. If a person is to propose that studying about Allah's names and attributes is not important, then we hit them with 1,000 evidences upside the head to show them contrary to what they're saying. It's a foolish statement. Look at the books that have been written by the Imams of Hadith, the Imams of Sunnah throughout the ages. The importance that was shown by the Imams of Sunnah, Bukhari and Muslim, Abu Dawood, Ibn Majah, Muqaddimah, entire Muqaddimah is about Aqidah. Do we know better than they know? Does a person suggest that they understand better what will benefit the Muslims than the Imams of the Sunnah? The Imams of the Madahib, right? Abu Hanifa, and Malik, and Shafi, and Ahmad. Did they have a problem with this term? Did they have a problem with the importance of Aqidah? Alhamdulillah, we find contrary to that in their writings. We find contrary to that in the writings of their Talameen. Right? When we look in the books of the scholars, the Hanafi scholars, or the Shafi scholars, or the Maliki scholars from the early generations, or the Hanbali scholars from the early generations, they show great importance to the affairs of creed. So what do they suggest is important for the Muslims in these times? What will raise the Muslims more than Aqidah? What will correct their affairs more than Aqidah, than having this veneration of Allah and this respect for Allah Ta'ala? Isn't the problem of the Muslims today because they don't have this respect? Because they don't have a proper love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they have made partners and rivals for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while claiming to be Muslims. They are worshipping ashab al-bara'ih wal-qubur. They're worshipping at the shrines and the graves and so on and so forth while claiming Tawheed, while claiming to be Muslims and so on and so forth. And we look at the problems of the Muslim world and how the Muslims have tried to equip themselves with Western politics and Western philosophies and so on and so forth, and Western systems in order to try to repair their problems and to fix what is wrong with their nations and so on and so forth. And they see that the more they do so, the more miserable they are. And there is no doubt that the problem with the Muslims is a weakness in creed. But the problem with the Muslims, and he starts with the core of the religion, which is the Shahadatain, shahadatain. What goes against the shahadatain? Innovation and shirk. Innovation and shirk. And it goes against the shahadatain. So the Muslims have a problem with the core of their religion. So what branches off of the core of character and behavior and everything else is weak if the core is weak. Whereas non-existent if the core is non-existent. So a person who says that you have risk and kindness with them and you explain to them exactly what it is. But we are saying we don't get all worked up about terminology, so long as the terminologies were accepted by the scholars of the early generation. But these are just, straw man arguments and baseless, and these things that people throw out just to be argumentative and to sound sophisticated and so on and so forth. Otherwise, they have no basis in reality.
Is there what is an advice and how does one deal, inshallah, with anxiety in Islamic manner? How can a sister or brother, deal with anxiety?
How can they deal with anxiety?
No.
That they look at the al-Majariyyah, right? They find in the books of dua. You find in Christian Muslim, if that's what you have access to. You find in the more recently translated book of al-Majariyyah. And you have du'as by Shaykh al-Albani rahmatullahi alayhi. The du'as for stress and worry and anxiety. And you learn those al-Majariyyah and you think about what they're saying. Think about what those du'as are saying. Because those du'as contain within them the solution for anxiety. So those du'as direct us back to the only way to have hardship removed from us, which is to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to focus our energy upon the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, outside of this, if a person wants some good detail on the subject matter, because it's a very detailed subject matter, the scholars have discussed it. The scholars have discussed it rather exhaustively. Then they can look at the book al-Hayat al-Wasa'il al-Mufida al-Hayat al-Sa'ida, the beneficial means to attain a happy life by Shaykh Sa'adi rahimahullah ta'ala. And it's a short book, and it's something that can be read, once a week or twice a week, and I suggest that a person has it at their disposal. And it's something that the Shaykh wrote towards the end of his life. And he wrote it when he was sitting in the hospital in Lebanon. The Shaykh had some blood clotting and some other things, and he was suffering from severe migraine. And he was in Lebanon, and there were, a lot of Christians in Lebanon, and so the hospital was being run by Christians. And they had books on the shelf in the library that were written by people like today, like Dale Carnegie. I think his book was actually translated in Arabic in those days. How to Live a Happy Life. This Christian salesman who wrote these feel-good books, And so he found this book that was translated to Arabic by a Western author. And it was talking about how to live a happy life. And he said, these people don't have a clue about happiness in reality. All happiness is found in Islam, and a person, having a proper, relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and working for the hereafter. This is true happiness. And so he had his sons, in as much as that he had been forbidden from writing at the time, he had his sons write down a book as he dictated it. And this is this book that we have today, the means by which to live a happy life, or the causes of a happy life, or however they titled it in English. It's a very beneficial book, and it was translated probably in the mid-90s. You could find it. You could find it in many bookstores. How to Live a Happy Life by Shaykh Abdul Rahman Sa'adi rahimahullah ta'ala. But first and foremost, a person knows that, the causes of sadness, disobedience to Allah ta'ala, and by wanting things that are harmful, and by ignorance. So by a person learning beneficial knowledge, and by a person having correct aspirations, and not worrying over things that are trifling in this world, and by a person having pana'ah, by a person having satisfaction, being satisfied with what Allah gave, and not any feeling as though they deserve things that Allah hasn't given them, and so on and so forth. By a person taking these means and focusing upon what's important and reading the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and internalizing what he reads, the person will find himself filled with happiness, without a doubt. By a person being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they'll find the pleasure of obedience. There's also a book written by, it's an explanation of the speech of Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala from Zad al-Ma'ad. Ibn al-Qayyim had the section right before the guidance of the Prophet about fasting. He has a section about the causes of happiness in Islam. And it's very, very beneficial, extremely beneficial. And there's a commentary for this chapter written by the great scholar, the Ethiopian scholar Muhammad al-Jami rahmatullahi alayhi. And it was translated by our brother Hassan al-Sulmani. And it's available on Hikmah Publications, as published it probably about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And so I suggest that book also. It's a very, very beneficial book. But it's a very important topic. There's another book that I recently translated the audio for and will upload it to the Masjid Rahma speaker probably sometime in the next week. There's a dialogue between a Sheikh Asadi, rahimahullah ta'ala, and apostate, who apostated from Islam because they were, duped and deluded by Western culture and society. They had traveled and they had went to Europe and they, saw the, material wealth of the Europeans, the false happiness and the illusion of happiness that they had. And so they, became conflicted inside and they ended up apostating from Islam. And the Sheikh Asadi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he spends the majority of the dialogue explaining how Islam brings true happiness to a person. So soon, inshallah, we'll probably post that audio. Maybe I'll post the section about some of the advices about happiness. They're very, very important. The Sheikh, he gives a nice outline for happiness in Islam. Perhaps we'll post that to the Twitter page, and I'll let the brothers know when I do that. You can share that amongst yourself, inshallah.
Inshallah. Just one last question, Ustad. The question is, what do you advise to a youth to draw nearer to Allah and to fear Him? And also, going along with this question, what are the advices that you can give to sisters who are busy with electronic devices and they leave out that chores and other things of studying and stuff? So they leave off, they're busy with their electronic devices and they leave off their chores.
Just one question.
Inshallah, he became to alhamdulillah. Barakallah.
As for the brothers, the best advice that we can give is to stick close to the Masjid, to benefit from what's happening in the Masjid, and to be an asset to the community. If you have something to help with, to help, teach your brothers what you can. If you have brothers that, need help learning the Arabic alphabet, or need help learning how to pray correctly. You have children in the community in the same situation. We know that you have a children's school on the weekend. To find things to occupy your time that are beneficial. And to, while you're in the workplace, to excel in your work, to try to be an example for Islam and the Muslims, and to make your worship, or to make your work and your studies worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to make sure that what you're studying is something that will benefit the Muslims and will be of a benefit for yourself and your family first and foremost, and possibly for the Muslim community if you can. And to connect yourself to the Masjid. To know that an Islamic community is built around a thriving Masjid, and that the more successful the Masjid is, the more successful the community will be. And as for the sister, there's a lot that a sister can benefit herself with, of what is being broadcasted on a daily and regular basis from the Masjid. any beneficial classes and lessons, so on and so forth. She should try to find good companionship and good friends. But she should know that her chores and her responsibilities around the house, they take precedence. And that, it's not menial work. It's not demeaning. It's not something that is, beneath her, to, get her hands dirty and cleaning the house, and to work hard and taking care of her family and taking care of the chores and responsibilities around the house, and that her attending to those affairs is from the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Something that is a blessing from Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, that Allah has, if Allah has allowed her to stay in her home and work and take care of the responsibilities around the house, while so many women have to go outside of the home and be busied with everything that they're busied with and be far away from their children. And she has the time for her love into her children and her attention into her children. Her children need that attention. Prophet ﷺ called the children and the summation of any a person's worries and concerns and attention and so on and so forth. I mean, it's just something that's amazing. I mean, that the child has been called Faldatul Kabad. I mean, the falda of the kabad. I mean, meaning that which is, formed by the worry and concern of the kabad. The kabad is the liver. The kabad is the liver. Scientifically, not to be nerdy, but scientifically, when a person is concerned or worried about something to an inordinate level, to a level above what is normal, then the brain redirects blood at the vital organs, particularly the heart and the liver. And so when a person is worried and concerned and so on and so forth, then they feel it. They feel it. That's why people get indigestion. That's why people get ulcers. That's why people get, abdominal issues, because the blood is redirected at their vital organs, particularly the liver. The Prophet ﷺ called the child Faldatul Kabad, the summation of, the scholars, they say what it means is the awatif, of the feelings and emotions of the parents are poured into the child, that their worries and concerns and fears and so on and so forth are poured into the child. So the child is the product of your attention and love and concern and so on and so forth. And according to the amount of concern that you show to the child and attention that you show to the child will be how well the child does in life, most probably, most likely. The child is more likely to succeed because of the concern and love and so on and so forth that it gets from the parent. Unfortunately, we find that we live in a time where people are living in a virtual reality, where they are frozen to their phone screens and their tablet screens and their computer screens and so on and so forth. And the children also are frozen to screens, and they're getting very little direct contact from their parents, even at a very young age. And this is detrimental to kuffar themselves. Know that this is detrimental. People that work for, people that are making 7 figures a year, that are working for the tech industry, have cut their children off from these devices until they reach the age of 10, 11, 12 years old, because they're harmful for the cognitive mental development of the child, right? You have a responsibility, sister. You have a responsibility to focus on your children. We're not saying just, that don't benefit from what's going on online, don't benefit from, the internet and the computer and, these sorts of things that are blessings from Allah, no doubt. But there's moderation. There's moderation, alhamdulillah, by you doing chores around the house, especially if you have daughters. You're teaching responsibility. Your children should look at you as the pinnacle of responsibility. They should think when they get older, and they have children of their own, their example of how to be with their children is going to be what they see from you. So don't be like some of the Salaf describe, the woman that you don't want to marry is a woman that her house is dirty, her children's clothes are wrinkled and unkempt and dirty, the food is stale, the food is cold and never warm. There's no care and love in the house. She's cold to the touch when her husband approaches her for intimacy, so on and so forth. This is a sign that there's something wrong with her iman. This is a sign that there's something wrong with her understanding of Islam and wrong with her relationship with Allah Ta'ala. And so she should be diligent with fulfilling the rights of her Lord with her salah, fulfilling the rights around the home, and so on and so forth. And, this is not below her. It's not mediocre. It's not mediocre. It's not something that makes her, a second-class citizen. It makes her, somebody who, is not succeeding in life. This is the person by Allah. Wallahi. This is the person who is successful. The person who has the priorities in order. She is grateful for the blessing of Allah Ta'ala to be able to be in her home, focusing upon her children. This person will have a happy life, and her husband will have a happy life, and their children will have a happy life. Inshallah, to be in paradise together, having a happy life. I think that's everything.
Jazakallah khairan, Ustad. Barakallahu feek for your time. Inshallah, well, you've taken a time out of your, so inshallah we'll let you go. But inshallah, we want to keep this something that will happen on a regular basis, inshallah, and have you come out and visit the community here in Minnesota, Masjid al-Wahyain, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah, we hope to do so soon, inshallah. Allah make it easy.
Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.